That was Rob Bass. It takes two, a tale. It does take two. So two of the juggernauts, former juggernauts, I guess now in the cable news. One being Tucker Carlson, and the other is Don Lemon, and they both were released by their respective companies. You can tell it's interesting, even the way that it was worded, because the white dude got to part ways with company. The black dude just got fired. And the white dude, he was fired because ultimately his lies led to about $1 billion in damages. And plus he has another suit with one of his producers alleging racism, who would have thought, sexual harassment, and the like. So I think, and plus Symantec has another suit, a $2.7 billion suit that were going to be levied against Fox, specifically because of Tucker Carlson's lies. The other is Don Lemon, and he had been on thin ice since he made the mistake of telling the truth. Nikki Haley had announced her plans to run for presidency, and she was basically intimating that Joe Biden needed a competency test because of his age, and she intimated he was past his prime. He merely stated a fact that a lot of people would think she was past her prime. If that's not true, you don't like to hear that. That is very much true. A lot of people in this society, unfortunately, think when you're past a certain age, when you're a woman, you are past your prime, and that's just the way they do it. If it were true, you would see. If it weren't true, you would see old anchors. You don't see old weathermen. Al Roker will be on till he falls apart. You're not gonna see an older woman counterpart. There is a prejudice and an ageism that goes on against women that he alluded to, maybe inartfully, but it doesn't make it any less true. And allegedly, the argument he had with a young Indian man who was basically extolling the virtues of the NRA and talking about how pivotal the NRA was in us once we were free. And Don Lemon took umbrage to it, as anybody would. Anybody. They intimated that the NRA was integral in us gaining our freedom. Let me ask you something. There were hundreds, dozens of race riots. Did guns ever save black people from those race riots? Ever? He talked about how integral the NRA was in the civil rights movement, which is a lie. They get on there and lie, and Don Lemon's job was to push back, which he did. They were integral in the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement was a peaceful movement. It was based on nonviolence, and it was based on nonviolence because the black people with the guns, it would have drowned out the message, and a bunch of people would have got killed. So if the NRA, who was about arming yourself and proper gun ownership, was integral in the NRA, it was integral in the civil rights movement, why was the civil rights movement all about nonviolence? They weren't shooting at lunch counters. They were getting food poured on them, and they were getting slapped. They weren't shooting back at the people with water hoses. They weren't shooting back at the German shepherds. They were abused, and they got abused so bad that America felt bad, and that birthed the civil rights movement. The NRA had nothing to do with it. The NRA was integral during the civil rights movement. The NRA wrote the mold for that along with Ronald Reagan, which was 12 Black Panthers walking to the California State House, which was their right. California was one of the very first open carry state in the United States of America. And they walked in, and months later, along with Ronald Reagan and the NRA, they wrote the Mulford Act, one of the very first time that the NRA ever were for taking guns away from people. So Don Lemon was right to challenge him. He was a liar. That's what he lost his job because he didn't let somebody lie about something as important as that. Then, if the NRA is so integral, when Philando Castile, a member of the NRA, was shot, what did they say? Nothing. Not one thing. When Tamir Rice, who was shot, a 12-year-old boy who they thought had a toy gun, but he was shot in a state where you can open carry, why didn't they say anything then? There was a young man at a Beaver Creek in a Walmart at Beaver Creek. They alleged that he had a toy gun. They thought he had a real gun walking to a store, which was his right, and he got shot. Where was the NRA then? They have never cared about him. He was absolutely right to challenge him. One got fired because he lied and started a riot, lied and cost the company real value. The other told an unfortunate, too uncomfortable truth, and that has put them in the situation they're in. Don Lemon did what he was supposed to do. He pushed back. Nikki Haley intimated that Joe Biden, President Biden, was past his prime. He rightfully said that a lot of people feel like women at a certain age, which you are past there. This idiot got on talking about the NRA being integral to the civil rights movement. He pointed out how it wasn't. It wasn't integral. All these people who are shot, all these people who are rifle gun owners and get shot, the NRA is silent about it. It's a tale of two anchors. One was a racist, xenophobic, homophobic, bigot who spread lies that almost led to an insurrection. One told an uncomfortable truth. A tale of two anchors. There's a little note from the GED section. We got a jazz report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.